Okay, so Harry Parker, we copied this tagline because basically encourage, motivate, inspire um, is at the bottom of his email when Harry sends you an email. And I really like that. Encourage, motivate, inspire. So just to start, Harry, I think let's go with, for those of you, those that don't know you, would you share just a little bit of your journey from law enforcement to real estate?
Yeah, well, you can either blame or thank Brie Albro for that. So she's the one that's my partner and the founder of Liberty Lane. She's the one that taught me into going into real estate about over 4 years ago. I'm on my fifth year now, so I've got 4 years under my belt, and wasn't sure I'd even be good at it, to be honest with you. She had faith in me. She thought I'd be good at it. It turns out I do okay. And that's kind of how it brought me here. I retired from the sheriff's office a couple of years ago now. And it was because of real estate. I started doing enough in real estate. I met with the sheriff and said, "Hey, I think I'm going to do this real
Yay.
estate thing full time and call it quits early." So I only got 23 years in instead of 25. He was not a happy camper, but this has worked out really well for me. So
That's wonderful. And I mean, you've only been licensed for 4 years, and you guys have a very strong team that you are growing. And I mean, I noticed that the agents that are on the team, everybody's moving and grooving, and I love it. What has been the key to growing so quickly?
I think you have to have the right mindset. Brie and I, we
Mhm.
talk almost every single day, and you have to have the mindset of why can't you instead of why you can't. Figure out how you can instead of why you can't. And you have to, if you rewire your brain to just know that yes, I can instead of how this was not possible, I think it builds a mindset of growth. And then you also have to have the people willing to do it, right? So we have a team. We got Tim, we got Anna, we got Brianna, we got Marissa, and everybody is willing to go. Tim will literally go to the edges of Washington. Same with Anna and Brianna. They will go anywhere. I think Tim was in Spanaway yesterday. And I looked it up when when I saw his video in Spanaway. I'm like, that is 2 hours each way, and that's with good traffic. But you
Yeah,
have to have that hunger, right? And so I think that's really important for us. And it's not just about buying and selling real estate. You want growth, and so we're not afraid. And this is championed by Bree. She's the one that tells you, hey, look at every opportunity because it doesn't have to be just a buy or a sell. It could be an investment opportunity or a growth opportunity. And I think land acquisitions, right? And what can you do with
right,
those things? So um, and then you motivate each other and you always inspire and you encourage and you just build each other up instead of tearing you down. So that's what
right,
that's what makes us, I think, a little bit different. That's because we're
right,
not just buying and
right.
selling, we're also looking at the investment side of it as well.
I totally agree. I love the idea of how can it be done. And I've seen Bree over there. She is pushing how can it be done. I mean, making things happen. It's pretty amazing. And
Yeah,
it
I
is
literally
very,
ride her coattails.
yeah, it's very inspiring. Let's see here. So with what would you say is the approach for leading and mentoring the agents that you guys are supporting and growing?
So I think you have to have honesty with each person. And I think this is what I always tell people. Listen, if you call me, I'm going to call you back. If you ask me to be there, I'll be there. But you have to be hungry. You have to be willing to go out there and get your food, right? And like Tim always says, when one eats, we all eat. But
I
you've got to
love
be
it.
hungry, right? You got to be hungry. So I think part of mentoring and coaching is having those weekly calls and being able to say, hey, what have you done? And so how many letters have you sent? How many contacts have you done? And Bree does something each week. She says, hey, what are your plans this week? How did last week go? What did you accomplish? Where did you fall
Right.
short? What are we doing this coming week? And then we just do this big group text and say, hey, this is what my wins were. This is what my shortcomings were. This is my goal to reboost this week. So it's always being hungry, always trying to make and hold people accountable, right?
It's
And so
accountability.
it
Yeah,
really is, but
big
you have to be
time.
accountable to yourself. If you're not accountable to yourself, you've already failed.
Yeah.
So stop saying why you can't, start saying how can you, right? Let's
Yeah.
get it
How can
done.
we do this? Right?
How can we do this?
Exactly.
Stop saying you can't. Stop it. So
Right. This is real estate. There is so many things that can be done. And even in the challenges that I think even for me right now, I've just noticed probably there's like a little bit of an influx of just a pause on movement for some buyers based on, I don't know. I don't know what it is specifically, but maybe it's fear, changes in the interest rates and the tariffs, what have you. But I'm always like, okay, outside of all the things, now I need to find the ones that need to or want to, because there's still always going to be buyers and sellers in every single market. So,
Every
um,
single market.
every single market. Let's see here. And then how have you helped agents find their footing and starting to produce and getting results? I mean, I think there was, I want to say, is it Tim? Is Tim a little bit newer to the team?
He's been with us, what, a year, Bree?
Who
Well,
is
let
the
me see.
newest person on the team? Who is the
It
newest
was
person?
Tim and Anna.
Yeah.
Yeah, close to. I don't. You guys are on here. How long have you guys been on the team? I think it's been a year.
Okay. A year.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
And
think it's been about a year.
I see transactions coming through. I see them doing deals. I see them with listings and closings. And I'm like, you know,
I think one thing about Tim and Anna is they have no fear, right? Because here's something that people forget. The answer is always no unless you ask. So they're not afraid to go door knock 50 houses. They're not afraid to do those cold calls and hundreds of them. They're not afraid to send the flyers over and over again, make videos. Tim and Anna are incredible video makers, right? They do way better than Brie and I for sure. So they make these great videos, but they're constant. And I know we haven't gotten to the question, but it's casting that net, right? It's not a single thing.
hmm
Most agents, they like, oh, I'm just not very busy. Well, what have you done? Right? What have you
right.
done? How many videos have you
Yes.
made? How many contacts have you made? How many calls have you made? How many doors have you knocked on? How many streets have you walked down? You know, and I can guarantee you, if Anna and Tim spoke up, they would tell you they have knocked on how many hundreds of doors, how many flyers they've sent out, how many videos have they made? They made another video today. I mean, they're just
Wow.
constantly, because here's the thing, if you're not on people's mind, they're not going to call you,
Right,
right?
right,
So
right.
stay on their mind. You don't have to be don't want to knock Amway if there's Amway people here, but you don't have to be the door-to-door salesman or the vacuum cleaner salesman. You can still be genuine. You can use humor to attract people, but just be
Right.
yourself and be constant. Make sure people know. I'll tell you, there's so many stories. Bree and I share these stories all the time. My wife and I were at dinner last night at a local restaurant, and we were talking to the family next to us because they had a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and we have a 3-year-old and 1-year-old grandchildren. And
Yes.
we got to talking, and they're like, I was like, "Oh, you guys local, right? In my neighborhood? Oh no, we live in Kirkland, but we actually think about moving out this way." I'm like, "Oh, you're kidding me." I said,
Wow.
"I know a really good real estate agent." "Oh, that'd be so helpful because we don't have one." Bam. And we we started the
I'm your
conversation.
guy.
So don't be afraid to ask people. You'd be amazed at how they're going to say no. And this morning I had an electrician coming over to my house to do some work and got to talking to him. And he goes, "Yeah, I'm actually I'm in the process of trying to figure out how much my wife and I can afford a home." I'm like, "I can help you." He goes, "Oh, really? Fantastic." Got his contact information, sent him my mortgage lender, and now he's on the path to being a buyer. So it's just those day-to-day conversations. So just be constant. I mean, eat, sleep, and breathe real estate.
Always be on. That's my
Always be
thing. It's
on.
like I'm always a real estate agent. Always, whether I'm having dinner,
Doesn't
whether
matter.
I'm taking
Yeah.
a walk and a hike and a park, I am still a real estate agent. I love it. Absolutely love it. What would you say to somebody that says, like, and I get this quite often, I don't know that I'm not really good for door knocking. What would be the approach? If I don't want to door knock, how could I still get business?
So you can use me as a great example. I'm not a
Mm-hmm.
door knocker. I'm not a cold caller. I just don't have it in me. Now I go
Mm-hmm.
with some of our team because like Brianna, she doesn't like going by herself. I don't blame her. I'll go with her because like I told you earlier, if anybody asks me, I'll go. I'm always going to say yes.
Right.
I'm always going to have your say.
Right.
But me personally, I'm not going to go do that. So what do I do differently? I send the flyers. I do ride my bike and I talk to my neighbors, right? So we ride
hmm
miles and miles and I talk to my neighbors. Matter of fact, I wrote a letter to my neighbor tonight because I heard one of my neighbors might be selling. I'm going to go knock on his door. Hey, Steve, I haven't seen you in a
Right.
while. heard you might be selling. I don't know if you know, but I'm
Right.
an agent. Restaurants and my contacts. Contacts are huge, right? I mean,
Yeah.
my barber is one of my listings. My coworker's a listing. My friends are listing. My friend's son is a buyer. We just closed on him a house. So on your phone, this is a really easy way for someone that's getting into business that doesn't want to do cold calls, don't want to do door knocking.
Mhm.
Take a list of your contacts, print it out, put it on your wall, put it somewhere you can see it on a daily basis and go through it. Tim does this, he'll say A through C and then D through F, and then reach out to every single person and say, hey, I was thinking about you. What have you been up to
Mhm.
lately?
Right.
Oh, that's it. Don't say, I'm a real estate agent. Call me if you need a house. Don't do that. Just say, hey, I've been thinking about you. What have you been up to lately? And guess what?
Right.
They're gonna say, oh, thanks. And thanks for thinking of me. Yeah, I've been doing this. How about you? Oh, it's funny you ask. I just got into real estate and I'm really excited about it, but I'm still a little nervous. Oh, you know what? We're actually thinking about it. How hard is that? You know,
Yeah.
just start
Yeah.
knocking them down and don't make it, I don't know, salesy, right? Don't be disingenuous. Be genuine
Well,
and they'll call you.
and you don't have to be salesy. I think you do need to have intention, but that's how I've done it my whole career. It's the Ford, right?
Right.
In my conversations, how are you doing? How's your family? Right? That's going to come back to me. How is Candice doing? How is the family? How is your occupation? Occupation. What are you doing for work these days? What's going on? It's going to come back to me. What is my occupation? I do get to say. And guess what? We're probably going to start now talking about the market,
Absolutely.
dreams, recreation, travel, and it all comes back to real estate. And it
So
doesn't have to be salesy.
here's what I can tell you. Like we're studying parables right now. If those of you that have faith, it's biblical. So parables are like Jesus stories. So one of the parables is like scatter the seeds, right? It's not your
Mhm.
job to sit there and put fertilizer on them, but scatter the seeds. Let people know what you're doing. And guess
Mhm.
what? They're going to grow. Those relationships are going to grow, especially, and one of my favorite sayings is if you just simply try, you're not always going to be successful, but you simply try to do the right thing every single day, you don't have to worry about your tomorrows and you can just focus on or your yesterdays. You can just focus on your tomorrows, right? Do
Right.
the right thing every single day. That way you don't have to worry about your yesterdays. Just focus on your tomorrows because those calls are going to start coming in and people start reaching out to you. And it's nuts. It just happens. Every time I tell Bree, I don't
Mhm.
have any deals after June. I'm all caught up. Bam, bam. People will start calling you from when I reached out to them 2 months ago, 3 months ago. So
Yeah.
I think that's
Love
just
it.
exciting. That's how I would start new people out.
I did tell Parker that's his like magic saying. Anytime he says, man, I don't have anything going on, I said, just wait till you wake up tomorrow. Then he's like, this is crazy. 3 people called me today.
It is crazy.
I love it. So I guess to breathe that since you're on here too, how have you guys been able to foster the culture of collaboration amongst each other as a group?
Um, we talked one. I know Harry said, hey, we talk pretty much every day. Um, that goes almost for like my whole team. I mean, some of the gals over here, they have, full-time jobs. So we make it a point to like catch up at least one time a week on the phone. We
Mhm.
all are in that group text. We send out ideas. We send out our listings. We do the weekly texts and, try to hold people accountable. And then my West Side team, um, most of them I'm talking with them like every day, if not every like other day or every few days.
Right.
Those last couple of weeks I look a little rough. We're just getting over pneumonia.
I'm
So
glad you're
I'm like,
feeling better.
yeah, I'm just like, hey guys, I'm sorry I'm sick. But I think that was almost a hey, the universe telling my body to calm down and just
Look.
rest for a moment. But I
You've
think
been working through some deals, I know.
I know. Yes. Yeah, both Cody and I were sick, trying to negotiate deals, coughing like all week last week. But yeah, I think communication not only with our potential clients and nurturing those clients, but
Hmm.
communication with each other and you know, I think it just communication is the key to pretty much everything here, whether it's with
Right.
each other or with our peers. I have, a lot of good relationships with the local agents over here. And I think it comes down to mutual respect, for each other. And I think sometimes agents are not remembering that we're working towards a common goal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when we're showing somebody else's listing, we're not trying to fight with you. We're trying to get this buyer into house, and you're trying to get your property sold. So let's work together and let's collaborate here and let's just get it done. And then going back to what Harry said earlier, we really try to think outside the box. I know Anna and Tim today were, talking to people potentially losing their house to foreclosures. And something we like doing is presenting a lot of options. It's, hey, let's list it. Let's try to get, full value. But hey, if for any reason you get down to that timeline, we're going to be creative and potentially do seller finance or do a lease option or do whatever it is that we could help that person. So
Mhm.
I'm like, we don't want to just go in with, hey, let's help you sell it. And if not, you're going to lose your home. We like
Right.
presenting them all options. And I think that's something all of us on our team do. I mean, Parker's doing some development right now in Everett, and that started with somebody losing their house. And
Wow.
they walked away, the estate walked away with money in their pocket, and now he's providing housing to the community. And now he's developing, a duplex. And, but it all started with that
That's
that one
amazing.
phone call saying, hey, this person's losing their house. Can you help them? And then
Mm.
rehab the house and now like moving forward. And I think everybody on our team really has like that creative itch to move
Well,
And
forward
and
and not only
don't
help
let
people.
yeah, you can't let fear get in your way, right? Because Breeze helped me with that. Because I mean, I'm a very conservative person by nature in every aspect of my life. And so, it's like paralysis by overanalysis, and you just can't do
oh
that.
yeah.
You have to be unfearful and just go for it. And then look for
Right.
opportunities for people. A lot of people don't even know what they have. So when you're doing an assessment on a home, if you for a listing appointment, look at what else possible. You're like, hey, do you know you could actually put two more homes in your backyard? What? You're kidding me. I said, no, your home's making a
Right.
lot more than you realize it is. Oh my gosh. That's amazing. So yeah, talk about that. I think we have a lot going on, obviously. We super happy, got 4 in escrow currently, which is nice, and so got another buyer and another listing coming up. And so, which is actually 2 more listings coming up, one in Snohomish and one in Stanwood. So but we're prepping those now. So we're getting I've got the landscaper going to one. I've got contractors going to another. And that's another part. I think a lot of agents don't realize it. You don't just go in there and list the house. You want to be there for them. You want to have their 6. And so work on those contacts in your Rolodex for your landscapers, your electricians, your plumbers, your contractors, and make sure you vet
Right.
them. And then, be that concierge person for them. Because I got to tell you, when you do that, they're going to remember you,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you're not just the person that's putting them on social media and all your listing sources. You're the person that helped them get there. It's like
Right.
the house that just went mutual today. We got 10,000 over asking because we put a lot of work into that house. And so we made it sparkle, and now here we are, and so we were successful. So they don't forget you when you do that kind of stuff. So
No,
I
they
think it's
don't.
important.
They don't. And I think this just goes to show because I've talked to agents like I've slowed down, I don't have anything going on, and there's business out there. There is business, there's listings, there's buyers that are still buying. And I I think I like to say it's not going to just fall in your lap. We're in a
It's
time
not.
right now where you're not just going to sit and, wake up and here comes your phone ringing. You've got to do the work up front, right? You've got to let people know that you are available and that you want to support them.
And here's the
And
thing,
once,
Candace, you talk to people all the time. I know you and I both do, and there's a lot of really good agents, right? I was talking to Tara about this earlier today.
Mhm.
There's a lot of good agents that have a ton of potential, right? They really do. But it's different when you have a lot of potential. There's a ton of people that have a lot of potential, but there's very few that are willing to do the work to be successful.
right,
I mean, it's
right.
such a great compliment. They're like, "Oh, your job is so easy." Right? They don't they don't realize I'm up at 5 a.m., right? Already on my computer. I know Bree surfs her computer every day for deals and calling those
Right.
FISBOs, right? The for sale by owners. Here's something that I think people didn't remember. you have to be intentional, right? You have to be deliberate. You have to take action steps, and not just once in a while. Not just once in a while. You have to take them every single day. Stay focused, stay committed. And I was talking to a young man this morning about his career path, and he's an electrician. He was a trainee with my electrician this morning. And I'm like, listen, you can be running 1,000 miles an hour trying to get to where you want to go, but if you're running the wrong way, then you're not going to ever
It
get there,
doesn't matter.
right?
Yeah.
So get yourself a good mentor. Get someone, surround yourself with other successful people. Don't
Right.
offense anybody on this call, but if you've done one deal in the last 2 years, that's probably not who I'm going to attach my ride with. I'm going to hook up with Bree, who's done hundreds of deals and knows how to do creative financing, and is willing to share that information. I can't tell you how valuable it is to have someone next to you that is willing to share all their knowledge and their expertise and the know-how. And just
Right.
find yourself, it doesn't have to be us, but just find someone that, inspires you, that encourages you, that motivates you, and ask them, hey, can I go with you? I have a guy right now who says, hey, do you mind? I have two guys. My neighbor who's thinking about doing real estate, and my brother-in-law, he's like, hey, would you mind if I just go with you? I said, absolutely. I call the client. This one was Pam Bree. And I said, hey, do you mind if I bring someone with me on this listing appointment? She goes, no, of course, that'd be great. And he goes, so that's what you do? And I'm like, yeah, man, you're really honest. I said, you have to be, you do it the kind way, but you have to be honest with them because you want them to get the most for their home. Right.
Right.
So, um, but yeah, find someone that's willing to do that for you. And if you can, and you're willing to put in the work, I promise you, you'll be successful. You can't not
Right.
be, right?
Yeah.
So,
People do these days, I think people, a lot of I guess what I would say are buyers and sellers, they just want somebody that's going to listen and support them. That's it.
this is what,
Support their goals.
Candice,
Listen
my
and support
motto.
their goals.
Yeah. Encourage, motivate, inspire. But here's the thing. I tell people I'm not special. And I truly mean that. You can ask my wife. I'm not special, but I'm always going to be honest. I'm always going to be responsive. I'm going to communicate really well, and I'm always going to do what I say I'm going to do. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And I had a fellow tell me at the restaurant last night. I told him that I had, listen, I'm not special. This is what I do. This is my pitch. He's like, well, I think you just outdid 90% of your competition. I was like, there you go. So that's it.
Yeah. 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 Well, you guys are doing this and you are definitely making it look easy. What would you say to that? What would you say to that?
I say it's behind what you don't see. It's the
Mhm.
multiple calls that you do. I work 7 days a week. I just do. I can't help it. I was
Mhm.
up at 3:30 this morning, and not because of real estate, because my 25-year-old cat got sick, so I had
Oh.
to get up with him, but he was doing better. But listen, I was already on the computer. I sent my first real estate email this morning at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. this morning, I
Mhm.
sent it to escrow regarding some information they were lacking on one of the transactions. And and I usually try to wait till 8 a.m. before I start, sending emails to everyone else. Um,
Right.
I went to Marysville to meet an inspector. I went to another Marysville house on a different house. I found two houses that I prospect, another house in my neighborhood. You make it look easy, but I promise you, you have to juggle a lot.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I sent some documents to the wrong escrow company today because I had so many going on. But they're like, I don't think it's me, Harry. I'm like, oh no, you're right. I goes to the other one. Sorry, I'm trying to spread the wealth around a little bit. And they're like, no, there's no problem. But yeah, I think it's the what you don't see. And if you do make it
Mhm.
look easy, I think that's a compliment,
Right.
right? Never
Right.
let them see you sweat.
I think I've got a note here. You said if you take it's smart, intentional, deliberate action steps every day, you will find success. Stay focused, stay committed, stay intentional, and surround yourself with other successful people. And I love that. And I think one more thing I would add in there, surround yourself with other successful people, but maybe find someone to help you stay accountable. Sometimes I've talked to agents all the time, and sometimes that's all they need. You know what, Candace, can you check in with me once a week? Ask me what I'm working on. How did this go? How's my week going? up and coming. And sometimes that's all it is too, just to stay accountable. So this was
Just
really
phone calls.
good. I
Communicate.
want to leave it
Communicate.
open. Does anybody have any questions for Bree or Harry tonight for this interview? Any questions? You can actually, because we don't have a ton of people on the call, you can unmute if you have any questions. Would love to hear for you or any comments. I do see that Stacy said really great advice. Build your business by building relationships. I love that. Let me see if there was anything else in the chat. Oh, somebody says, are you looking for any more team members?
Let's go, Jan.
What is there a requirement that you have? I know you did say be ready to work, be ready to prospect. Any
Yeah.
requirements?
So Bree and I, we obviously work really close together. So we have to be hungry. You know, you have to be hungry. You can't be afraid of work. But we're here to support you. You know, so obviously Bree's got to unmute herself, but she can always take some
Yeah.
calls and interview, and we'd love to meet with people. And by the way, even if you don't want to join our team, we're always here to help. You know, I know for a fact that anybody on our team would sit down and have lunch with you and just coach up, you know, so it's just I just like helping people. I think it's
Yeah.
fun, you know.
One
So
thing that I really like about our team, like we don't recruit people to our team. Everything just grows organically, and I think everybody could attest to that. You know, we have spoke to people, you know, and you know, I like to chat with them. Parker likes to chat with them, and then we get them in front of the whole team and say, hey, do you think this is going to be a good
good
fit
fit.
for everybody involved? Because maybe some people will meet with our team and they're like, oh, you guys are like too much for us, right? Or maybe it'll be, you know, like, you know, the opposite. Hey, you know, maybe this might not be the best fit, but we're always open to talking to people. We just, we don't actively recruit.
No, nothing wrong with that.
So
Nothing
that's what
wrong with
I'm
that.
like, you know, we're kind of like the slow and steady wins a race, slow growing is what but
Well,
we're
you
definitely,
guys are doing amazing because I mean, you guys, I
thank
don't know
you.
if it was very clear, but Bree is in Spokane area and Harry and the others are, so there's, how many are in Spokane?
So I'm in North Idaho, and then Marissa
North
and
Idaho.
Everest are in Spokane. I cover both
Okay,
like Spokane area and North Idaho,
right.
and then there's 4 teammates in
Snohomish County.
Snohomish,
Snohomish County, and
Snohomish.
then we have one additional teammate kind of off-site, and she kind of does some of our marketing stuff for us
That's
too.
awesome. No,
So
that's
she
wonderful.
lives out of Missouri.
Yeah,
So
I
Oh,
think I'm the
wow.
furthest north. I'm Stanwood, way up here in Snohomish
Family.
County. I'm far north, but I love it up here. You know, I really do.
But
So
also too, I heard somebody say not scared to go, and I know Bree, you've come up this way, and I know you said Tim was down in our neck of the woods. He was in my neighborhood
yeah, I think
they're at the door knocking right now. Look at them.
in Spanaway.
Skimming
Oh
Anna.
gosh,
No, I
Brianna,
he's
don't think
gonna
it's
list
so
my
searching.
neighbor's house.
Yeah.
yeah,
That'll be
like
horrible.
the young kids, they'll go anywhere. Me, I will give that business to the young kids, and then go to Spanaway or down there by the ocean shores and stuff like that. I'm not going to be going that far, but listen, I got enough in Snohomish County. I'm happy to be here, and it's just super fun.
And
That's
I'm always
awesome.
open for phone calls if anybody wants to chat too. So
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And then let me see, one last question. What are your favorite tools to stay on top of mind? Do you use anything like Client Giant?
No, I'm really old school. What I do to stay in people's thoughts is I reach out personally. Personal, 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 right? And so if I can make it personal, here's what I've noticed. When I can make a personal, deliberate connection with someone, right? Then they're going to remember me and they're going to know me rather than just a mailer or a cold call or a door knock from a stranger. If you know me and you're in my contacts, I don't care how you know me, whether you're a vendor, whether you're a client, whether you're, you know, a family member, a friend, a coworker from the past, you'd be amazed. It's just a short little connection to somebody. And I've
Right.
even driven to people's work and said, "Hey, I saw your car outside. I knew you were working. I thought I'd come in and say hi. Oh, hey, what's going on? Appreciate you doing that." And you don't even talk about real estate. Hey, let's catch up. I want to know what you're up
Yep.
to. And that makes a difference. Maybe not immediately, but that's those scattering the seeds, right? That stuff starts to grow because
Right.
when they have anything, they're like, oh. Matter of fact,
Right.
a deal I had recently that is a chief for the Snohomish County Sheriff's Office. He called me, or he texted actually and said, "Hey, can you call me?" I said, "Uh-oh, am I am I in trouble?" And he goes, "Hey, I trust you. You helped my parents sell their home, and you helped them transition to Arizona, which I did." And he says, "Can you help me again with our son?" I'm like, "Of course." And we're in escrow now. So
Right.
those
Yeah.
connections matter. If you always try to do the right thing, then your yesterdays don't matter and your tomorrows will. You're right. So, but they just tie together, right? So it's super cool.
Well, and I like that I heard you say, I just want to see how you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Can we meet up for lunch or coffee? It's not, hey, I don't have anything going on in real estate. Who do you know that's looking to buy or sell, right?
Yeah.
I just want to connect with you, right? See
Yeah.
how
And I
you're
do that every
doing.
single week. Every single week. Not every contact, but kind of like, I don't know if Tim's still on, but kind of like Tim does. I break it down, right? So I just reach out to today, I reached out to 3 people. Hey, just checking in. And guess what? All 3 responded. We didn't talk about real
Yeah.
estate, but they were giving me what they're up to, what's new with them. And then
Right.
they say, "Hey, I hear you're killing it in real estate." And I answered, "I'm meddling." So
But they remember you and they
they
know,
do.
now they know constantly, Harry does real estate. So
Yeah.
when the time comes or when it presents itself, they're going to call you.
And I have 900 contacts in my phone, and it's still growing.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you. Any last thoughts? Any last thoughts, Bree or Harry?
I just encourage people that they can. Stop
You
saying you
can
can't. Figure out how you
figure
can.
how
And
you
if you
can.
need help or you need encouragement, call Bree or I, or anyone for that matter on our team. We'll be happy to take that call. My numbers, I'm public. Look me up. Harry Parker, Best Choice Realty. I'm there. And so we'll
Awesome.
be happy to help any way we can. So I appreciate the opportunity to get on here. Thank you so much for letting
Yes, you guys are
yeah.
amazing. I appreciate you and glad to see you, Bree
Thank
and
you. It was
Tim.
nice hopping on and
Yes,
seeing everybody.
yes,
Thanks,
yes. We
Candace.
appreciate you much. Thanks,
Thanks,
guys. Have a
everyone.
good one.
All right, bye you guys.